Hi, welcome to my multimedia presentation on obsolete and emergent technology. My name is Valerie Mitchell-Stevens, and today we're going to talk about the four quadrants of the McLuhan's Tetrade and the six forces that drive emergent as well as obsolete technology. You see, a tetrad is this particular image that shows how new technology comes into play and how old technology becomes obsoleted. But at the same time, it also retrieves something from the past as well as revitalizes something. And they all have to take place simultaneously or at the same time, according to McLuhan's. We also have six driving forces that make a technology obsolete or emergent. One is evolutionary technology. The second one is rhymes of history, something that trickles through the area of history. An example of that would be the refrigerator. We started with ice boxes and evaluated and evolved into what we call the Bluetooth high-tech refrigerators. Then there's always something that we see on a movie like science fiction, true science fiction based on science. Okay, holograms are an example of that type of technology where you can move things. Then there's this disruptive technology, according to Dr. David Thornburg, or the wild card. It just comes out of nowhere. And a good example of disruptive technology is the transistor. Nobody saw that technology coming, but it did. And with it, it brought upon the age of digitalization of most of the things that we tend to use and play with today. And then, of course, there's the increasing returns where you have two technologies that compete fiercely with one another, and finally, one emerges. And then the sixth driving force is called, and it's taken from Alice in Wonderland, the Red Queen, where two technologies compete and they keep up with one another. They introduce a new features, but then one finally emerges to be the winner. And a good example of that is the word processors of 15 years ago, WordPerfect versus Microsoft Word. The two formats were drastically different. However, over time, it was Microsoft Word that won. Now with me today, I have an information technologist, retired, Jim Bullard, and I have a couple of questions to ask him as part of the interview process, because he's been using technology and also managing technology for a number of years. Jim, what technology do you feel, looking back, is obsolete?
I would think the card reader. If you go back to the 60s when we had the what we call the second generation computers, which was after vacuum tubes, the card reader was extremely important. And the card reader, most people looked at it as the IBM card or the Hollerith card. And that reader was at least 6 feet long and 4 feet tall. Now, on those cards, you put all of the designer information on there that was typed in, and after you had the information already there, you had to read what's on those cards. Now, that information which was read actually showed the designer how the design was actually, was it proper, was it good, was it bad, or whatever. The issues that you had, if one of those cards flipped out, believe me, then designer's information just went south. Now, at that time, if you recall, those cards were, I would say, 3 inches by 5 inches. And today, if you take a look at card readers, the card reader themselves are 3 inches by 5 inches.
Yes. Well, given that, what technology do you feel replaced it?
Oh, the computer, obviously. We had to go into the computers, which I call the second generation. And the technology that really replaced it was new card reader types of mechanisms, all right? So once you take a look at a new card reader mechanism, you're talking about quality at that point, because now you don't have to worry about information being flipped all over the place. It's small. Now, I must go back a little bit. At that time, the memory systems And that was one of the other reasons you need the card system, because you didn't have sufficient memory. The max memory system was only 35K. And this was the RCA systems and so forth, which was the highest technology. So the computers, now when we speak of computers now, they were hefty and they were really big and so forth.
Okay. Well, what do you feel, given the four-quadrant tetrad that I just spoke of, what do you think it rekindled or retrieved from the past?
Well, I think what happened, it rekindled and it helped the engineer, the thinker, to be able to do more with with more technology. Because once you have sufficient memory within your system, in other words, a place where you can put more information, then you can think larger and so forth. And each time you have the technology, you don't really have to worry about how much memory do I have. When people had 35K, you were very concerned that, well, my design can only be so large or so big or what have you. So now people can design anything they want because of what I will call miniaturization of systems. Now, that took a long time to get to be miniaturized, because the 60s, the 70s, and 80s, there were no miniature computers. I believe in the late 80s is when you had what people now call the laptops. And the laptops were extremely heavy. Oh, they looked about the same, but believe me, they were heavy to carry around on you.
Well, what other opinions do you have about technology?
Well, the other thing that I have about technology, not only the card reader or being able to, with designer, to be able to get the information and put it in the miniaturized system, but also it provides information that can go all over the place. Case in point, if I want to get design information on websites right now, I don't have to redesign it myself anymore, because those formats, those technologies are there. So all you have to determine is what type of website that I want, and the information is there for you, and the formats are there. And so technology has really, I mean, has come miles since the early 60s, but the thought processes are really still there. There are no new, I don't believe there are any new design processes, but it's the technology that assists you to operationalize what it is you're designing. I think the way people think is pretty much the same, really, when you think about it.
Yes, I agree with you. Well, Jim, thank you very much for participating in my multimedia presentation on technologies that are obsolete as well as emergent. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Now we're going to talk to a key decision maker to purchase technology as well as an end user, Mr. Peter Naiman. Peter, what technology do you feel is obsolete, given your experience over this decade?
Right now, what we're using,
Okay.
your TV cameras, they're becoming obsolete. Everybody has one of these, a smartphone. They do the job of the camera. Little thing, big thing. That's one technology. Another is the way every technology that comes out is obsolete. The minute something new is out, it's replaced by something newer. So it's a constant race.
Okay, so you're almost defining the competition as being emerged through the Red Queen effect.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one driving force for it to be emergent as well as obsolete. Now, think about the transistor. What types of technology did that unfold?
Well, you had your vacuum tube, which turned into the transistor, which turned into the CCU at your computer, little microchips, get smaller and smaller. Like I said, everything is shrinking. What used to take a room full of tubes to run just a simple device has fit in the palm of your hand.
Size is the key. Yes.
There we're here.
Yes. Well, now let's speculate a bit. What new technology you think is on the horizon? Or what would you like to see?
Well, one of the little devices that we just talked about was the Star Trek and the transporter. That was a device that was used to transport people metaphysically or however molecularly from one place to another instantaneously. Time travel. In its course, what it did was when you landed on a planet and you beamed up, it would automatically remove any foreign bodies. If that technology were to be done today, one of the foreign bodies that it would eliminate would be cancer cells, because
Yes.
that is considered a foreign element. The device would detect it, and it would move you from one spot to the other, minus the cancer.
Wow. A lot of people would definitely would like to have that kind of technology.
Millions of people.
Yes, exactly. What other opinion do you have concerning?
We're a technology age.
Okay.
We're we're no longer technophobic, but we're techno literate, and you cannot hide from it.
It's true. That's very, very true. Well, thank you, Peter, for taking some time out of your busy schedule to participate in my multimedia presentation, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Scotty, beam me up.
Now, you've heard a couple of interviews concerning obsolete and emergent technology. One of the things that I've noticed in the area of PCs, laptops, tablets, is that there's a hybrid device coming out, which utilizes the small, thin, diagonal screen space of a tablet, but actually gives you more computing power than a laptop. I would speculate that as this device becomes available on the market, it will be cheaper, the resolution will be superb, and more people will be able to use that type of technology. But at the same time, it may involve a driving force like the Red Queen or evolutionary type of technology in order for it to be adopted in the marketplace. So thank you for viewing this multimedia presentation, and I hope that you have gained some knowledge and insight from it.